In today's video, I'm going to show you how you can draw this animated Halloween illustration from start to finish using the iPad and Procreate. Just like all my videos, it's all in real time too. No time lapse, no edit. So if you want to draw along and animate with me, keep watching. All right guys, so let's go ahead and make this animated Halloween illustration. Starting out, I'm using a 2000 by 2000 300 dpi canvas. For my brush, I'm gonna start out using my standard Inker Streamline. That's part of my cartooning pack, but really for this one, you can use any brush that you feel comfortable with. And then of course for my color palette, once again, I've got this pre-made. So if you wanna download the exact same color palette that I'm using in today's tutorial, you can do that for free if you go over to my website, BeeJayDeL.com. Underneath the YouTube reference materials page, which I'll link it down in the description below too, you can find this along with a video at the top of the page that kind of walks you through how to install a palette in Procreate if you haven't done it before. So that being said, let's go ahead and jump into it. First off, I'm going to select this orange color right here. That's going to be the start of everything. And we're just going to go ahead and make an oval right here for our pumpkin. Now that we've got that in there, I'm going to drag and drop my color. And there we go, the pumpkin started. Let's go ahead and make the stem on this guy next. So let's go up here to our layers menu, hit the plus button to make a new layer, and then we're going to tap down and drag this down underneath layer 1. I'm going to come back up here to my color palette. I'm going to choose this brown color for the stem, and we'll just kind of draw in a little stem right there. Nothing too fancy. Drag and drop the color in there, and that's done. Those we're done with now, so we can merge those together by pinching them, or you can tap on the top one and just hit merge down, and that's going to do the same thing. So let's work on the face then and turn the pumpkin into a jack-o'-lantern. So to do this, I'm going to come up to my eraser, and we're going to erase instead of draw. And I'm going to use my standard Inker Streamline for my eraser. And we'll just start out with the eyes. I'm just going to do a couple of triangles, and I'm going to make these fairly messy. I'm not too worried about these things being perfect right off the bat. We can fix them here in a second. So we'll get those in there, get the mouth in here. Just by holding down there, I'll kind of lock it in, bring this up and around, and then erase there on the inside. Get all that orange out of there. Like I said, it's messy right now, but that's okay because we're going to fix it right now. So we're going to come up to our color palette, select that orange again, or you can always hold down your finger to select a color that's already on the screen. Using our brush then, just going to come in here, kind of drag around a line there. Missed a part right there and right there. I got to erase those. Back to my brush now. Just holding down as I drag a line, and it locks it into that perfect straight line there. Same thing there. And then we're just going to fix the mouth now. So we're going to do the same thing here, just kind of dragging around that oval shape there, that curve shape. And then another one here. Filling in the rest of those spots there. All right, so we got the face there. Let's go ahead and add some teeth though, because we still need to get that done. So we'll just kind of start pulling around some teeth here. Just like that. Of course, this being the 3/4, as it comes over here, everything gets a little bit bigger. We can just fill these in like that. Once again here, if you want to kind of fix those, you can use the eraser. I think I'm just going to leave them as is for right now. And get this bottom row in here. Have that coming up a little bit more there at the side so it doesn't go straight in. All right, a little piece there I missed. Zooming out, there we go. We've got the jack-o'-lantern face done. Now this looks white, but that's because we've got the background on. So if I turn this off, you can see that we removed that part of the orange. There's nothing there. That's just a basic transparent opening right there. We're going to use that in our animation later. So now that we've got that done, let's go ahead and add a little bit more here. I'm going to make a new layer here. Going to drag and drop this below that first one. Then I'm going to come back up here to my colors palette. I'm going to select this yellow here, fourth color over on the first line. And I'm just going to go ahead and make an oval here, holding my other finger down to lock it into a circle, and then drag and drop that color there. That's kind of the moon behind. And then from here, let's go ahead and make another new layer. I'm going to switch my color over to black now. And my brush, I'm going to move over to my Halloween pack. This was a 2-brush pack, just a stamps that I made last year. It's totally free if you want to download it for free. It's got that bat and the spooky tree in there. Got the link down in the description below. So we'll go ahead and just slap this in there, just tapping once. Then I'm going to go up to the arrow here, kind of drag this down so it's the size that I want it. I think that looks pretty good. Now I don't want it coming outside of the moon though. So here's another kind of trick and tip that you can do. Of course, you could come in here and try to erase it perfectly. Instead though, what I'm going to do is I'm going to tap on this moon layer here, and I'm going to go ahead and select the contents of this. Then it brings up this menu down here at the bottom. Right now, the yellow circle is what's selected. If we hit invert, it's going to move the selection. Instead of selecting the circle, it's going to select everything outside of the circle. So now this part that's outside of the circle here of the tree, we can go ahead and come back up here to our layers menu. We can select that tree, layer 3 there. Going to our eraser now, we can erase that part that comes out. You see how easy that is. Super simple. Now I'm going to go ahead, coming back up to my layers menu, I'm going to tap that tree here, and we're going to go ahead and merge down on that one. So now the tree and the moon are all one layer. But I don't want these showing here through the pumpkin. So I'm going to go ahead back to my eraser here. I'm going to go ahead and erase all that stuff back there that overlaps. I just need to clear all this out. It's going to look white, but like I said, it's only looking white because that's our background color right now. This is actually transparent. All right, so we've got that removed. Next up, I want to go ahead and add some words. So let's do that. We're going to kind of reposition this then based on the words that we use. I'm going to come up here to my color palette, and I'm going to go ahead and select on this second row, the second yellow color here. Then I'm going to come up here to my wrench icon. I'm going to go to add and then add text. Double tap on this to select it and hit my keyboard. Oops, try this again. Hit my keyboard here. Maybe, all right, there we go. So I'm gonna go ahead and type in happy. And then I'm going to double tap that again to select it, and I'm going to tap now on the font here. And I'm going to change this. I've got a bunch of different fonts that I've bought over the years that I have installed, so these aren't going to be the same fonts you have. I think for this one, I'm going to go ahead and use Dreadful. I like that one. This is a paid font. And then using the arrow icon here, I'm going to go ahead and make this bigger. Just get this kind of towards the center here. You'll see that orange lights up there because I've got snapping and magnetic on, and that orange will show me where the center is. So go ahead and put that there. Now I'm going to go ahead, slide this to the left, and I'm going to duplicate that. Tap on the arrow, bring that down here to the bottom, and then double tapping again here. I've got both layers selected. Make sure I'm on the right one here. With my keyboard then, I'm going to change this to Halloween. All right. Arrow again to kind of just move that down just a tad bit. And that looks good there. Now, I'm going to go ahead and grab my pumpkin again and move this down so it's above the moon layer here. I'm gonna slide that one to the right as well, so you'll see both of these are blue now. And then I'm just gonna shrink this down ever so slightly, pull it here to the right a bit. I wanna add a ghost, and I think I'm gonna do the ghost over here. So we'll have this kind of off-centered here to the side. All right, that looks good. Next up, let's go ahead and get a background color in here so we can see a little bit better once we do the ghost, because that's gonna be white. So if we go ahead and make a new layer here, drag this to the very bottom, back up to our color palette. In this bottom row here, I've got this really dark midnight blue color. I almost can't even see it, it's so dark. We'll just drag and drop that here. Then of course that shows up behind those eyes again. So with my eraser, I just want to come in here and remove all of that blue. Just like so. All right, looks good. So now we're ready to make our ghost. Like I said, we're gonna put him over here. So back up to our layers menu. We can go ahead now and combine the moon and the background. So if we merge those down, it's gonna give you a few extra layers if you're running on a non-pro version of an iPad. And then let's go ahead and Happy and the Halloween. We can go ahead and merge these down. So these are all on one layer as well. So right now we're left with the words, the pumpkin, and the background. So we've got 3 separate layers. So let's go ahead and select the pumpkin layer. Let's make a new layer, and this is going to be our ghost. Now, usually if you watch my videos, you know I don't name layers. I just leave them as whatever pops up. If you kind of are new to Procreate, it might be a good idea to name layers. If you start doing highlights and shadows and stuff, I personally don't do it, but for animation, I do. So it kind of helps you keep things straight. So we're gonna tap this one and hit rename. Using the pencil, we're gonna scribble here, and I'm just gonna do 1. So this is gonna be layer 1 of the ghost animation. With that selected then, coming back up here to my color palette, I'm gonna choose white. And let's just make, whoops, I gotta switch my brush back to my streamline. Let's just make a kind of basic ghost shape here. Nothing too crazy. Drag and drop the color, and then of course here, if you want to go back in with that eraser and kind of fine tune some of those lines, if you get a little sloppy on it, you can fix those so they look a little bit prettier. All right, so there we go. We're gonna make him move, so I'm gonna shrink him down just a tad bit here using the arrow. We'll shrink him down. Put him about there. I'm gonna do freeform, make him a little bit wider though. All right, so that's our basic ghost shape. Let's go ahead on the same layer, let's draw in the eyes and the mouth. So I'm gonna select black, top row, very last color there. And just draw a circle here for one eye. You'll see sometimes using this brush, you'll get kind of an edge to it. That's why I like to use my fingers when I'm drawing circles with this brush. You don't get that kind of overlap. There we go, and then let's draw a cute little mouth in here. Like I said, pretty basic with this, not a lot of, you know, crazy techniques of drawing and doing tapered lines and all nut stuff. So just want to keep this one simple. So we've got the ghost, that's number 1. Now to start the animation, we're gonna come up here to the wrench icon, and we're gonna go over to Canvas now. And you'll see the second option down here is Animation Assist. We're gonna go ahead and turn that on, and everything starts to kind of drop opacity here, and it lets you see which layer you're actually on right here. I've also got some extra lines in there I need to get rid of. So we've got the ghost here. Now I'm gonna go ahead and slide this to the left, and I'm gonna duplicate that layer. With that duplicated now, I wanna rename this. So I'm gonna tap that, hit rename, scratch this out, and make this one 2. And then I'm going to come up here to the arrow again, and I'm going to move him up. So you see, because we've got that onion skinning turned on here for the animation, we've got the underneath one where we can see how far this one moved up. Now we're going to repeat this process a few times. So that layer 2, we're going to slide to the left, duplicate that one, tap it again, hit rename, call this one 3, go up to our arrow, slide this one up a little bit more, come back to our layers menu, slide this one to the left and duplicate that one, tap that again, rename, scratch this one out, and you can also use the keyboard too if you want to, but it's just a lot quicker to scratch it out. So we got 4, tap on that, move that one up, not over, and then we'll do it one more time. So we'll duplicate that one again, tap it, rename, scratch it out, number 5. Now the other thing here, you can see we're just kind of moving him right now. We're not actually doing animation with the eyes or the mouth. So if you wanted to do animation along the way and change those, you can. I'll go ahead for this one and give him kind of like a blink here at the top. This is going to be the top part of the animation. So it's going to go up and then back down, and it's going to loop. So it's going to continue to do that, and this is going to be the height of the animation. So we'll go ahead and just, with our white selected, get rid of the eyes here, just coloring over these with white. And this is going to be a pretty quick blink. If you wanted to make a more believable blink, you could add extra frames and kind of make the blink change over those frames rather than just going from the big circle to the kind of closed eyes that we're going to do, which I'm just going to go to black for that. I'm going to look to see where my eyes were again. All right, so right about there. So I'm just going to draw these in here. Like I said, it's just going to go from the circle to that. If you wanted to add extra frames, it's going to look a little bit more fluid, but for the sake of the time of this video, that's how we're going to do this. All right, so like I said, that's at the top of that loop. So now we need to work our way back down, and that's why we numbered these. Instead of duplicating this and having to drag, what we can do, now that the 5 is the top, we can just slide 4 to the left, duplicate that one, drag that up to the top, then go down to 3, hit duplicate on that one, move that above 4, number 2, duplicate that one, put that above number 3. And now we're not going to do number 1 because, like I said, this is going to loop. So this, after this one, it's going to start over back here. So it's going to come back down to number 1 as the whole animation begins again and loops over. So that's why we're not doing number 1 up there. So the ghost is done. We're complete with that. Now, let's go ahead and add some extra animation to the letters and to the face of the jack-o'-lantern where that light's coming through. Now, this next step and this next animation part, I will kind of stop the video here to just give a warning. It's gonna have kind of a strobe effect to it. So if you're somebody that suffers from conditions that strobes don't do and play well with that condition, definitely feel free to skip this part and just do the animation of the ghost if you want. Otherwise, it's not crazy. It's not going to fill up the whole screen, but just because that does affect people differently, I just want to go ahead and throw that out there, give a little kind of warning ahead of time. So now that I've covered that, let's go ahead and get the eyes done first. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a new layer here above the pumpkin. Coming down to the pumpkin, we're going to tap this and we're going to go ahead and set it as reference, which is going to allow us to drag and drop the colors here for the eyes and the mouth. So back up to that new layer, we're going to go up to our color palette here, and I've got this bright yellow as the first yellow color here. We're going to drag and drop that color in. Now I'm going to zoom this in so we can see a little bit better, and I'm going to come up here to my adjustments menu, and we're going to go down to bloom and then select the layer. And we're going to slide this to the right, and you're going to see it's going to make this kind of bloom out. We're going to go about 22%, somewhere around there for this one. And then we're going to go ahead and once again make another new layer. Coming back up here to the color palette, we're going to choose this brighter white color here. Brighter yellow color. It's more of a yellow white. All right, now that that's in there, once again coming back up here to the adjustments layer, we want to bloom this one. And we'll select that here. Once again, we're going to select layer. And this one, we're going to go quite a bit further out on this one. We're going to go about 40, 50, 60%. Oh, let's do about 55. All right, that looks good. So you can see we've got these two different ones here. I'm not going to rename these because you can tell a difference here between them. So let's go ahead then, starting with the yellow. We're going to slide this one to the left. We're going to duplicate that one. We're going to drag that on top of that first one. Now let's go ahead and duplicate the white one. We're going to drag that one on top of the second one. We've already got this other yellow one down here, so let's go ahead and drag that up here on top of the third. And we just need to alternate these as we go. So we'll duplicate the white one, put that on top of 4, duplicate the yellow one, move that on top of 5, duplicate the white one, put that on top of 4, and then duplicate the yellow one again, put that on top of 3. So you'll see now, once this loops back over, the yellow is the last one, and then it's going to come back down to the white one right here. So we've got all those in there. Now let's go ahead and do the same thing here to the Happy Halloween. So let's drag this back down here to the bottom. We're going to put this in between that original pumpkin layer and then the first colored layer there. So let's go ahead and we'll duplicate this one. This is going to be our first one. So once again, coming back up here to our color palette, we're going to choose this brighter yellow. And that fills in everything, but it's because we still have reference on down here. So let's go ahead and turn reference off. And then instead of dragging and dropping, we can also just go down here to the layer. We can hit select, tapping it again. We can hit fill layer, and that's going to fill that in with that darker yellow. Now coming up here then to our adjustments layer, using bloom again with this one and layer, we're going to go to that same 25, 22%. And then we need to do the bloom with this other layer here, the one that's that brighter yellow white color. So once again, back to our adjustments layer, going then to bloom, layer, and sliding this one more to that 55 to 60 range here. Okay, so we've got those now. And I think we'll alternate these so we have them on different layers. So let's take this white one here and move this up underneath the yellow. So we've got the yellow and then the white, and then the yellow kind of alternating, so it'll flicker back and forth between those. So now we need the yellow, the first one here. We're going to slide that to the left and we're going to duplicate that and move that up underneath the white mouth and eyes here. Slide this white one, duplicate that one, put this one up underneath the yellow, and just make our way up, repeating those steps. So the yellow, duplicate that one, back up here under the white, duplicate the white, back up here under the yellow, duplicate the yellow, back up here under the white, and then finally the last one, duplicate the white and up underneath the yellow. Okay, and that's pretty much it. So now we just have to merge these layers. So each of these layers is going to have 3. So we'll merge these 3 together. So it's going to be the ghost, the eyes, and then the words. And then you can just go down and just combine all of these as you go. just like that. Now we need to make one or two last steps, I guess. The pumpkin and the background here, those all need to be their own layer. They need to be combined. So we're gonna go ahead and tap on this one and we're gonna go ahead and merge down. So now the pumpkin and the background are all in a single layer, but we also need to set those as the background in the animation itself. So if we come down here to the menu at the bottom, you'll see that that's our first layer. So it comes here to the left. Animation in Procreate starts at the bottom and goes up. So the first layer here at the bottom is always going to be your first layer to the left as the clip plays from left to right. So we're going to tap this and we're going to set this as background. So basically what that means is no matter what's playing on the screen, that's always going to show. Anything that's on top of that is going to play on top of that background, but that'll be in every single frame. So now that we have that set, we are pretty much done. This is where we test everything out and see if it plays right. So all we have to do now is hit the play button down here and we'll see what we made. And there we go. We've got the kind of spooky, creepy strobe effect between the pumpkin and the words. We've got the ghost bouncing up and down there with a little blink. Now, if it's going too fast, you can always go in here, click on your settings, and then drop the frames per second and it'll go slower, or if you go up, it goes faster. So that really just depends on what you think looks best. So I'm thinking there about 12, 13 frames looks pretty cool. So there we go. A really cool kind of quick animated GIF for Halloween, making use of Procreate's animation tools, which are pretty awesome. Like I said, these are basic, but hopefully you can look at these tools and see how you could use them in your own work, how you could kind of incorporate them into making animations yourself. So hopefully you guys liked today's video. If you did, make sure you give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and hit that bell for notifications so you can get alerted when I post new videos. Also, if you take part in any of these tutorials and make something based on them, I definitely want to see it. So if you post it online, if you're on Instagram or Twitter, tag me at BeeJayDeL. Or if you're on Facebook, I do have a group over there. It's a private group called Keep Creating, a group for artists by artists, which I will link in the description below too. An awesome place to be, good place to share your artwork. Not only the ones based on these tutorials, but anything you make. Give feedback, get feedback, meet new friends. Want you guys to join, so definitely hop on over there. And that's it for me for today. Couple more Halloween videos I think left in the month, so definitely stay tuned for those. And until next time, keep creating.